everyone, Cadams Tech here. So in today's video, I wanted to go through and show you all what I believe to be around, I would say 90% of the most important HTML tags for you to know.
All right, we are here on the computer ready to write some code. So the first thing we want to do is download Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is platform agnostic. You can run it on Windows, you can run it on Mac, and it's free to use. So download Visual Studio Code, aka VS Code, not to be confused with Visual Studio, right? Visual Studio is an IDE, which is a far more powerful tool, and it's paid for. And I believe it can only be run on Windows, right? This can be run on both Windows and Mac. It's lighter weight, and it's a text editor. So let's go ahead and download it. All right, so after you download it, double-click the application, and it should look similar to this. All right, so the next thing you want to do is click on New File over here. Click New File, and then you type index.html. And then we want to go ahead and save this to the desktop. And then you can see over here, it's saved to the desktop. This makes it easier to find. Okay, so the .html extension over here is essentially telling the browser, hey, you can expect HTML code. You will need to render this HTML code, right? And then within here, the first HTML tags that I want to teach you are HTML. So we have the opening tag, the closing tag. Picture it similar as a sandwich, right? And you want to make sure that it looks just like this. We have an opening bracket, we have HTML, and then we have a closing bracket right here, right? And then for this tag, we have very similar, except we have an opening bracket, we have a forward slash, we have HTML, and then we have a closing bracket. So picture it as a sandwich, right? Anything that goes between these two pieces of bread is a child of it, right? Picture a parent hugging their child, right? They're holding on to them. Well, that's what these HTML tags are doing, right? So aside from this basically does the same thing as this .html extension. It's saying to the browser, hey, anything between here, these two tags, is going to be HTML code. So it should be treated as such, right? So the next thing we want to do is type head. Picture it as the head on your body. It's the top of your body, right? Well, this is the top of the HTML document. And the contents that are expected to be at the top of the HTML document will be between these two tags. Very similar to the HTML tag, except it says head, right? Opening and closing. And then within that, we're going to do a title tag. And this title will say hello world. So make sure the syntax looks like this, and then you should be good to go, right? The title will be the tab on the top of the browser, and we're going to see what that looks like. So if we go over here, we click Open With. I'm going to click Firefox. We launch that puppy. You can see in the tag, or the tab, it says Hello World, right? It's a blank page, but it says Hello World. All right. So you made it this far. You've created your first HTML page. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section, which is the body. We have the body tags. So similar to the head, right? The head of your body, the HTML document expects this content to be at the top of the page, right? The tab is at the top of the page, right? The body, picture it as your torso, is going to be all the meat of the page, right? It's going to be the meat of the page, the main content. What do we want to make for the first body tag? Well, let's go ahead and make an H1. Go like this, and we type hello world. And we'll do an exclamation now, right? And let's go ahead, while we're in here, let's do a few more. Total of 6. We'll do an H2. We'll do an H3. H4. H5. And an H6. And what H means is heading, right? There are different headings. Headings are typically at the top of the page. The H1 is going to be your biggest heading, your largest heading, which would be usually the main heading. And then H2 through 6 are subheadings. They're smaller. H1 is the largest, H2 is the second largest, H3 is the third largest, H4 is the fourth largest, and so on. So if we click Command S or Control S on Windows, we go over here, we click Command R or Control R on Windows. This will essentially refresh the page, and then we can see the different size headers. So this will be the H1, this will be the H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6 down here. So, hope that was useful. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the paragraph tags. Let's create something a little more useful pleasant looking for this one. So let's do an H1 of my first web page, right? And then let's go ahead and create P tags, which stands for paragraph tags, right? This will be like the text within the main body of the page. So picture you're reading an article and you see a heading and then you see all of the news article text below that, right? Well, this will be all of that news article text. So you can say like, hello, this is my first web page. It's really fun learning HTML. And then you press Command S on Mac or Control S on Windows. You go back to the web page. You can click this refresh button as an optional reload, or Command R on Mac or Control R on Windows. Let's hit refresh. You can see over here it says, my first web page. Hello, this is my first web page. It's really fun learning HTML. This is awesome, guys. You are getting there. You're doing it. You're writing HTML code. All right, moving right along. This is exciting, guys. All right, so the next one we're going to learn is the input tag. The input tag is essentially like a form input. So picture you're buying pizza online and you need to fill out the form, your address, your credit card information. That's what something like this would be used for, right? So we want to go ahead and remove this. Come over here, let's add a label, and we can do for, and then say first name, and then type first name, and then below that, let's do input, right? And the input, we're going to say type equals text. And then what we want to do is within here, we are going to press Command S. Actually, wait, we want to go ahead and do name equals, and then say first name. Command S, let's save that puppy. Let's go over here to the page and refresh. Look at that. So now you can type something like hello. You could say Chris. You could say Cadams Tech. Do whatever you want. So this is the input, but you need something in order to submit this input typically, right? Unless it's a search, then you could probably do a live search. And what you need is a input, and then you want to change the type right here to button. And then, or actually you want to do type submit. And then you can do value equals submit. So press Command S on that, and then that will essentially turn this input, similar to this one, into a submit button. So if we go over here, refresh, now you can see you have a little submit button. So if you do hello, or you do first name, press this, it doesn't do anything. That's where you need JavaScript. That's where you need the power of programming. But as far as HTML is concerned, you all just created your first input and input button. All right, the next ones I want to focus on are unordered lists and ordered lists. So go over here, remove this. It starts with a UL. This will be an unordered list. The U stands for unordered, and the L stands for list. So this is the tag that you do that, and then within the UL, you do LI, which stands for list item, right? So we say bananas, and then copy this, and say apples, copy this, and then go over here, and then oranges. You press Command S on that, you go over here, you refresh the page, you can see it has this bullet point here, bullets. Bananas, apples, oranges is unordered. It's not keeping tabs on which is which, right? It's just ordering it exactly the way that you want. And then if we do something similar, we change this to OL, make sure the closing is also OL. This makes it an ordered list. And then everything within here remains the same, right? Save that, come over here, refresh. Now you can see it has a 1, 2, 3 because it's an ordered list. It's orderly. So that's the difference between those. Good job. All right, so the next HTML tags that I want to focus on are select options, right? So select is like a drop-down selector, right? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Code along with me, option, and then we can say value equals, we'll stick to the theme of fruit. So we'll say bananas, copy that, apples, oranges. Save on that. So the value here is how, when you use JavaScript, it knows what to retrieve, what the value is. The stuff within these two tags, so we have the opening option tag right here. We have the closing option tag right here. The stuff within these tags is presentational. It's what will be displayed to the user, which is why we're doing a capitalized start of the word here. It's just friendlier to look at. It's more pleasant to look at. But when it comes to the actual value and retrieving it programmatically, it'll be stored within this value property here. So save that, come over here, refresh. Now we can see if we click on that, look, you can select different items here. Apples, oranges. So this little bit of code that we wrote right here is really, really powerful. These are very common elements that I'm teaching you here, and I hope you find them useful. Okay, so let's learn about the A tag. The A tag is a anchor link tag. That's what it stands for, and it's essentially a link. So if we go over here, we type A, and then we say, go to Google, exclamation. This will be the text that appears, right? And what we want to do is an href. This is the actual location of the URL. So what we're going to do here is open up a new tab within this one, and you can do that by using Command T or Control T, or just clicking that little tab button right there. And you can type Google, copy that full URL right there, copy it. You can close that tab by doing Command W or Control W. Go back to Visual Studio, and then paste that within the two opening and closing parentheses. So see how it has those, and then these closing, make sure it looks like that. And then after this, hit a space, target equals, and then do underscore blank. And what this will do is open it in a new tab. Otherwise, it'll redirect our current page over here. It'll redirect it. So you refresh, it says go to Google, right? You click this, boom, opens up a new tab, and it goes to Google. Look at that. You guys created your first anchor tag. But if we go back here and we want to refresh, and then we want to remove this target blank just to see how it behaves, and then hit refresh on this page, then you click it, you can see it steers it away from the page itself. So hit the back button so you're back, and then you're good to go.
So thanks very much for watching. Remember, like, subscribe. I'm going to release a lot of new content soon. Click that bell notification so you're alerted, and see you next time.